This is Your Other Brothers Podcast.
Sorta. What's up, homies? And welcome back to the ConvoCast. My name is Tom, editor, co-founder of Your Other Brothers. And we're a community navigating faith, homosexuality, masculinity, and this pesky coronavirus together.
And I'm Nate Baranowski, a three-peat guest, and so comfortable on here that I will be part of the intro.
I was gonna say, man, you just walk right in. Just feel free, introduce yourself. You are a regular. There's an elite class of people that I have talked to 3 times thus far, and you are among them, dear Nate.
Ooh.
So welcome
When do
back.
I get my robe? My embroidered YOB robe.
No, you need an embroidered sweatpant. We were joking about sweatpants before recording. How they're always drenched with sweat as we walk around in them.
And I do want to hear comments from listeners whether you can say I'm wearing a sweatpant. Singular.
Correct. I maintain that you can. It's just not utilized. But I think you can say I'm wearing a sweatpant today. I think so. And I have an English degree, so I feel extra qualified to say that.
Oh, hold on a second. Sorry, Tom. I'm getting a call from New York, which may be a client. Hold on a second.
Oh, ooh, let's listen in, everyone.
Hello, this is Nate.
Okay, so we're back from Nate's very inappropriately timed call that he just took. It's been
I'm
3
a working
hours.
man with...
I've been waiting 3 hours for him to get off, but here we are. We're back. What's up, Nate?
It feels good to be just so popular during
You're so
this time.
popular. You're getting
It was a
clients
call that
left and
had
right.
to do with my new TikTok profile.
Okay, and this is amazing. What a segue. The Lord is in our midst here today because I seem to recall our last ConvoCast. You were very down on TikTok. You're like, I'm not for it. I don't get it. And lo and behold, between last ConvoCast and this ConvoCast, not only are you on TikTok, by my last count, you had like thousands upon thousands of likes and followers and content. You've had a few video content. So I need to ask you, what has happened since we last talked? I need answers.
Here's what has happened. I've been doing some Instagram lives, and a friend of mine reached out to me and said, hey, you should post some things onto TikTok. I think it would be very, very popular. And I downloaded TikTok. It is how do I say this? It is a platform that is so overwhelming in the fact that it just plays infinite videos on full sound as soon as you open it up, just bombarding you. But I said, okay, I saw another chalk artist that I know and admire on there who's been posting some of her videos. And I was like, all right, I can do this too. This is easy. I don't need to create anything new. I have a bunch of videos from art. I will just post them on there. So I have done it. Now, let me tell you my TikTok impressions. I still don't know if TikTok is anything worth having for your own consumption, but I consider myself more of a dealer than a user when it comes to TikTok videos. I am on here posting videos and checking responses and likes and trying to
you're just here to get viral. You're not here to participate. You're not here to reciprocate. You just want to put your stuff out there.
I try not to spend a whole lot of time on the home or the discover page because it really can suck you in for so
it had a very
time.
similar I had a similar orientation to TikTok that I did to Snapchat. I no longer have a Snapchat, but I remember the first time I downloaded Snapchat, you were like swiping up and down and left and right, and I was like very disoriented because I was just used to Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, which just goes one way. There's one direction to go, and that's it. And so I was very thrown off at first. And similarly with TikTok, you can swipe all directions. The homepage, is an infinite loop, which is extremely daunting at first. However, I don't know how much time you spent on it, but literally, like, you use it for 10 minutes and you start liking things and watching things for certain amounts of time, and it starts to learn what you want. And so then suddenly the infinite loop no longer becomes daunting. It almost becomes like a never-ending stream of chocolate syrup in your mouth. And it's just so delectable.
The chocolate fountain
Nate, can I recommend one TikTok user to you, and then we'll be done with TikTok because I want to talk about.
I want to let you know right now. I'm following approximately 9 people.
9 people.
TikTok.
You should follow a 10th person.
Okay.
Well, if you're not already following me, I would like to think you are, but I'm not sure.
I don't know if I am. Hold on a second.
At Thomas Mark Z. So follow me first of all. I've posted 4 very funny things.
Is your content great?
It's fairly good. I'll just say that.
Thomas Mark Z.
That's me.
Oh, can I tell you my TikTok stats right now? Where I'm at?
Yeah. Tell me your TikTok stats and tell them your handle because I'm sure people listening would love to follow you.
My handle is. Do you say at in front of it?
You do, yes.
Okay. At Nate.Baranowski on TikTok. Come find me. Smash the like and subscribe button.
Don't forget
Double
that
tap
dot.
the dot. I don't know if the dot's important. Nate.Baranowski.
Yeah, you need that dot.
I am currently following 10 people, including Thomas Mark Z.
Yeah. But how many people? I was impressed. You just got on there. How many? What's your stats? Tell the people.
I have 4,519 followers.
Man.
And I have 167,000 likes.
That is crazy.
And my number 1 video has 1.3 million views.
That is crazy, Nate. Do you recognize the amazingness of that?
Yes, it's actually very cool to see.
But
just
at the same
time, whenever I read the comments, then I'm reminded of like, oh, right. This is like mostly a lot of 12-year-olds, a lot of like, a lot of board kids who aren't in school.
It's not even Gen Z. It's like whatever's after Gen Z now. Like,
right,
is it back to Gen A? Yeah. Gen A now? Yeah, for sure. But no, I wanted to recommend this one because my favorite person to follow, I just found him a couple weeks ago on TikTok. His name is Johnny Birchtold. And the reason I recommend him personally to you is because he's clearly a theater kid. He's extremely theatrical. But he is so funny because he comes up with these super niche, cliche movie characters. And as a movie aficionado, I know you have a movie podcast that I quite enjoy. He does all of these like cliche characters and he acts them out on TikTok. And he's super talented, super funny. I might find him personally attractive, so that's probably part of my reason for following him. But he is like legitimately one of the funniest people I follow on the internet or whatever TikTok is. I'm
following him now.
So I would recommend you. I went down a rabbit hole of watching all of his TikToks the other day, and they're just so clever and funny. So that's the TikTok recommendation for you and for all of our listeners. Johnny Birchtold, check him out. Anyway, let's continue.
All right, phone down. I got to like pull myself out of the TikTok.
I was gonna tell one Johnny Birchtold. So one of them he does is like that. The big brother consoling the little brother's asthma attack during a zombie apocalypse, and he's got to and they have to like hurry up and move on, but they have to take this moment to like calm him down so he can breathe again. It's like super specific like that, and he just does it brilliantly. I get a kick out of all of his TikToks.
All right, I'm following him. Now I'm following 11 people.
The numbers are ticking up, TikToking up. Okay, Nate, I cede the rest of my time. I wanted to bring up this whole TikTok thing and get that out of the way, but I cede the rest of our conversation to you now because I know in the past 2 conversations we've had, you've mentioned potential topics for conversation, and so I'm just going to let you bring them up.
Do you remember what those topics are? To be honest, I listened to the episode that you did with Jacob, and I really did have like, man, I wish I could talk about how to kill a chicken or whatever.
Oh, why don't we start there then?
No, it's already been used up. That's an old.
Would you slit the chicken or would you wring the neck of the chicken? Let's just figure that out.
I think you have to wring the neck of a chicken. I don't like shedding the blood of an animal. So I think I'd have to go with the old neck break.
See, that just feels way more dramatic to me. Like
Robert De Niro curb stomp.
I would worry that I don't do it right, and he has like a crick in his neck for the rest of his chicken life because I couldn't swing it around the right way.
Yeah, that's definitely no good.
Versus a machete to the neck, which you just and clean sweep. There it is.
For those who follow these ConvoCast, they gotta be like, man, what's going on with these guys?
I miss the days when they talked about their porn
less
usage.
murder, right?
Yeah. I know. We'll get back to that. I'll talk about that throughout the week, y'all. I have an announcement about the YOB-cast. We'll get there when we get there. But right now we're in the ConvoCast. Okay, so Nate, I do remember one topic you brought up on our first ConvoCast. You wanted to talk about the issue or the concept of control. That's all I remember you saying was control. And so I have no idea. In therapy last week, me and my therapist were talking about control. And so I thought this could be a great continuation of my own personal development and growth if you continued that conversation. So what were you thinking exactly?
What I was thinking is during this time, we have very much lost a level of control over our lives when it comes to not knowing what the future is and not knowing what's going to happen. And in some ways, I feel like the level of control I had over my own life was a bit of a veneer, a facade, if you will, because especially as a freelance artist or anyone who's kind of working freelance, the jobs can come and go just like, and if once they're gone, it's like, well, I can work more to try to get more jobs, but it's not necessarily like stuff that's out of my control. Like COVID is out of my control for the most part. I can do my part. And I think it makes me think of the other parts of my life that I want to maintain control over, but I don't actually have that much control. So I'm examining other areas of my life. Give me some of your thoughts. Control, Tom.
So hold on, follow-up question. You're examining other areas of your life, such as?
Just planning for the future and what that looks like. Kind of control over, success, like career success. Control over exactly like where I'm going to live, what my life's going to look like. I think there is. Yeah, I think you can dream about the future, about like what you want it to look like. I do a lot of future dreaming, but I think the idea of, at the end of the day, like my health, like I don't know. I don't know whether I will have a healthy life or have some sort of ailment or something. And I realize that by me saying that I like my days may be numbered and I have no idea what that number is, really rings lovely in your Enneagram 4 heart right now.
I love
how much are you loving this?
Your talk about mortality. That really resonates deeply. Okay. This is good. I also feel extremely powerless right now. Everything has been taken from me, and I'm just like, what do I do? Where do I go? I feel my mobility is something that I treasure greatly, and so not being able to travel is a big thing. So in many ways, I have felt trapped. In the last couple of weeks in particular, I've felt trapped in my own body because I get spring allergies fairly consistently, but they're not bad. I have friends who are just like grass, they're allergic to grass, and so they have to like take medication all of their days, and so it's nothing like that. And I feel extremely blessed as far as how my body is wired. But like every spring, the pollen comes out and it's itchy, sneezy, congestion for a week or two, and whatever. But because I've been taking these long neighborhood walks every day, I've been spending way more time outside than I usually do. I imagine in the last 30 years, spending these hours outside as trees and things are blooming all around me. So I felt extremely powerless, not only because of all the quarantine, but the last couple of weeks, I just have been like congestion leading to coughing, leading to aches in the body. And it's just like, it all led one thing after another. And I just felt trapped more than I ever have physically, geographically, everything. And so, for the first time, because I feel like I've lived a pretty healthy life. I've never had broken bones. I've never spent time in a hospital. I've never had surgery on anything. I've lived pretty healthily, and this has been like the worst health streak of my life the last couple of weeks, honestly. And so that's like, again, I start thinking about mortality. Like, oh gosh, up until now, I have never had any kind of serious health issues, and this is like the first thing. It wasn't even necessarily serious, but it was more lingering than anything I've ever felt in my life. And so I think about that, like, oh no, like I'm in my mid 30s now, and and my mind isn't what it was. Yesterday, I tweeted this. Yesterday, I flushed the toilet before I went to pee. And I was like, what just happened? I did that. It was the middle of the day. It's not like I was groggy. It's like, why did I just do that? What was going on with my brain?
I hope that's not a trend towards your
anyway,
in your brain.
So I'm thinking about my mortality in ways never before. But I don't know. It's like, on the other hand, to put a positive spin on this is like the most time consecutively I've ever spent here in Asheville. Normally, after 7-8 weeks, I will have at least gone to see my parents or gone to see my brother or gone, if not on a 1 or 2 hour road trip, on a flight somewhere many states away. And so there is this sense of rootedness that I haven't felt here probably in my 4 years living here that is really cool. Like, it feels like my home. I'm walking around this neighborhood, I'm doing laundry and going to the grocery store and doing all these like repetitive things that add up over time. And I'm appreciating this city being my home more than I ever have, and learning to just really live presently. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this time, is that truly all we have is today. And we have this hope that tomorrow will be better, or some tomorrow down the road will be better. But all we have is today. And so what are we going to do with it? Are we going to be productive? Are we going to be healthy? Are we going to stay connected in whatever way we can? And some days have obviously been better or more present minded than others. But yeah, it's been a whirlwind, I will say.
Tom, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
When you are faced with sort of this lack of control, or you're facing your own mortality, what is your coping mechanism for it? Like, do you just delve, like, not, for example, while I ask the question, this is not good, I'm stacking questions, but
stack them up.
I, for example, tend to want to turn towards a very distracting, not think about it thing. So I get my mind either like focused on a TV show or focused on something else. For that example, that's a lot of my coping mechanism for like, this is out of control. I need something I can control. What is your method of coping?
Well, I have healthy coping and then I have unhealthy coping. So I feel like I couldn't answer this question appropriately unless I answer both sides of the question, because I think in a healthy way, I'm definitely someone who likes to keep busy. And so that's kind of where the ConvoCast was born, is that all of a sudden I have all this extra time on my hands. And so why not, like, I've been having this idea to do a smaller version, a quicker podcast, more bite-sized, if you will, and to have these one-on-one conversations. It's been really fun and really great for me. But honestly, it's been a coping mechanism in lots of ways, because yeah, it's giving me something to do every day or every other day at the most. And so that's been one thing, in addition to like whatever blogging or other projects that I'm working on. So that's like when I'm healthy. And obviously that can be unhealthy too, if you're just doing busy work to be busy and you're ignoring your feelings or whatever. But on the just strictly being productive front, like that's a positive coping mechanism I have when I feel like something's out of my control, because all of a sudden this puts me back in control. Like, what can I do? Like, oh, I can't go out to a coffee shop, but instead of that, I'll stay at home and have a podcast recording with, some of my favorite people, and then I'll do that instead. So that's been one way. And then the other way, yeah, if I'm just being honest, digital distractions, whether it's like
TikTok,
whether it's TikTok or Netflix or binging whatever, like there's that. Looking at things I shouldn't, just to take it that direction too. Like there is that distraction as well. So basically spending too much time on technology, on the internet, like that's absolutely something that I have to monitor and just have extra restrictions on my phone, and just be really conscious of not spending so much time on screens, because that's, my life has been reduced by increasing screens. Like I think last week I had 7 Zoom calls throughout the week, and I'm just like, what is my life now? Wow. I'm just on the screen all the time, and it's great to connect with people, of course, but when you combine that with all the other time I spend on the screen, both in positive ways and negative ways, it's just like, it's just so much screen time.
Speaking of that, have you thought about or done like a technology fast, a like no screens for a whole day thing during this quarantine time?
Not during this quarantine time. That's a great idea. I would probably go mad at the end, which probably means I should try it or do it because
I think the exact same thing. I don't know how well I would do.
Yeah, for the last like 2 years, I think it's been about 2 years, maybe a year and a half. I have incorporated a social media fast every week. So pretty much every week, 1 day a week, I'm just like very conscious to not be on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatever other ones are out there because so much of my week is consumed by them from a personal standpoint, but even from a career standpoint too, just like posting links to blogs and podcasts. And I'm on social media 6 days a week. So I'm proud of myself that 1 day a week I've been able to be pretty good at resisting that. But technology in general, just like not being on YouTube or not being on or just any other website, watching Netflix, like that's something I've never tried, and it is something that I, suddenly now feel convicted to do. But I don't know with how much regularity or what. But yeah, I mean, I spend so much time on the screen. It's definitely something that I could stand to do.
I feel like I kind of want to do it too. Maybe at some point in time, Tom, if you think to yourself at some point in time, I want to do this, you just send me a text and maybe we can coordinate and do it together.
That would be fun.
Yeah, I don't know how I would do in it, but I've heard from people who've done it for like longer. I've heard like people in our small group have done it, I think going on like 7 days of just for the 7 days, it's just using the screen, Zoom for small group and Zoom for like a job interview. And that was it. No phone, no.
So is it like no texting, no calling, or like what are the parameters, I guess? That would be something to figure out.
Right. I think if I did it, I think I would still want to talk to people on the phone, but I think it would be all social media, all TV, all
I think
movies.
I would say, if I was going to plan it out for myself, and whether you follow that or not, I think it would be like, as long as you're using the phone for phone purposes, as long as you're like, if you're using technology,
use it like a dumb phone.
If you're using technology to directly communicate with someone, so not like through social media, not through even email to an extent.
I also kind of get text messagey too at times, where I do feel like I sometimes spend a lot of my day texting, which is to real people and good.
Yeah.
But I do find myself, it does involve the phone in my hands a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think I'd be curious to hear if any of our listeners have done technology fasts or breaks, or how you've done it, because I get overwhelmed by it because so much of life is technology based now. And so like I said, it's been easy for me and it's been good for me and healthy for me to take these social media breaks once a week. But the thought of taking even just 24 hours with no technology whatsoever is really daunting. But I'm attracted to daunting. I love hard things. So there is this conviction that's happening right now, which may or may not be Holy Spirit inspired. It may be more like Tom needs to suffer more.
Masochism, right? No, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, right? But the evening times for me, I don't know how you seem like someone, at least you come across
that's right.
in what you project off as someone who reads and is like less lowbrow and more of like every once in a while we'll sit down with a book. But if I'm in the evening time and my wife and I choose to not watch TV, but instead like read a book or do something non-TV related in the evening, I feel like J.R.R. Tolkien. Like I feel like Ernest Hemingway, just sitting down with a port and a good book. And I love that feeling, and I want to chase that.
No, I mean, this is full confession. I am like the worst English major, the worst representative of my degree, because I do not read nearly as much as like people.
Your online brand is like someone who does read, though. So you're doing something right, because you do come across erudite.
I'm glad I come across that way. But I'm going to give myself some props, because I don't ever do that. I usually point out my flaws. But the last 3 weeks, I have been reading more than I have in years. And that's been so good. It's been so good for me to like, my rule is, I have a rule for reading, is that I read nonfiction during the day, and then I read fiction before bed. And I forget who said this, because Yeah, I honestly don't even remember, but there's something about like when you read nonfiction, you're like forcing one side of your brain to think and engage with it in a way that if you're reading fiction, it allows you more to just lean back and just step into a world and let it
Mm.
unfold around you. And because there would be times I would read nonfiction before bed and I can look back and think, oh yeah, like that probably didn't really ease me into bed, into sleepy time as much as fantasy. Because now I'm reading fiction and some dystopian. I'm gonna give a book recommendation here soon.
Mm.
So I've been reading this book before bed for the last couple of weeks, and it has done wonders for my sleep. I've been struggling with sleep during this whole quarantine. I've had a lot of sleep issues, but I started reading this book for like 30 minutes before bed each night. And then all of a sudden, like you get to the end of that second or third chapter, my eyes are doing the little droopy things and it's time, okay, turn off the light.
You go cross-eyed
go to bed.
a little.
Yeah. And that's it. So the book I've been reading, it came out a few years ago. It's called Scythe. Have you ever heard of this book, Scythe?
No, but I know of a board game called Scythe that's dystopian future.
Oh, I wonder if they made
Is it related?
I wonder. I don't know. I have no idea. This book is pretty great. It's in development as a movie. I foresee it as the next Hunger Games. It's got that feel to it.
Yes.
But it's pretty great. It takes place some hundreds of years in the future, past the age of mortality. Basically, what has happened hundreds of years from now, science and technology have improved to the point where people no longer die. People are able to be, they have like nanites in their blood that repair everything and they just live forever until you cross a scythe. And so what happens is there's this, it's called the scythedom. And so there's this collection of human, I forget how many, I don't know, like couple hundred humans around the world that are scythes, and their sole purpose is to glean throughout the year. And so they have a quota that they have to meet where they kill a certain number of people to control overpopulation and other issues. And so they're the ones that control the population of the planet, and they kill based on whatever criteria they deem fit. And so you have good scythes and not so good scythes. And I am enthralled by this story. It is so well told. There's journal entries in it. It's just like, I love the structure of it. The characters are phenomenal. I can't wait for this movie whenever it emerges, but highly recommend it. It's a trilogy, 3 books. So I'm almost near the end of book 1 and have thoroughly enjoyed it so far, more than I have a lot of fiction books in recent times. So there's my recommendation.
That sounds great.
Yeah, check it out. Look at that. I gave a TikTok recommendation. I gave a book recommendation.
You're an influencer, Tom.
And Nate, I listened to your podcast yesterday on the movie Cats, which is a movie I really want to see. I was like, I told my brother one day, I was like, when it was out, I was like, can we please see this in theaters? And he's like such a lame person sometimes. And he was like, no, because I would have loved to see that in theaters for just like the wonder, the sheer absurd wonder of it all.
It's a treat for sure. It's not a treat for humans, but it's a treat for someone.
So, y'all check out Nate's Movies on the Side podcast on Cats. You'll have a great time. I thoroughly enjoyed y'all's review of it.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Oh, I usually leave those who are listening with a nugget of advice.
Great. We have to go, Nate. So tell them your nugget. I love how you said nugget.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it should be nugget. Actually.
Yeah.
Not nougat.
Is it a nougat? That sounds more delectable. Yeah. So maybe it's a nougat.
You're right. Welcome to Nate's Nougat. That sounds dirty. Anyway, here's my advice for those out there. Even if you don't have anywhere to go or anything to do during the days when you're staying at home, I recommend having a set wake up time. Still use an alarm clock and still get up at a reasonable time. I've been doing this recently and it makes a world of difference, because if not, you will sleep and sleep and sleep, and you will sleep in later and later, and you will have trouble going to bed, and you will end up going to bed later and later. And there's something in your brain when at 1 a.m. you can't go to sleep, or you wake up at 10 a.m., something in your brain switches to either like, I'm in college or I'm a kid sort of time. When if you're trying to be a full functioning adult, feels good to early to bed, early to rise. And if there's ever a time to make a habit, it's during this time. So it may hurt for a couple days, but if you end up setting an alarm and you're up and going, have your little devotional time in the morning, Good way to start the day, even if you don't have a ton of stuff to do.
That is a great nougat. Thank you for sharing that, because
it
ties back to my journey, bringing this back to me, because for when I was having trouble sleeping, I mentioned that earlier in the episode, I was having trouble sleeping because normally I am such a like get to bed early, wake up early, get to the coffee shop, start off the day with some good coffee and read some blogs and then get into the work for the day. And then when this whole thing just happened, there's just so much of me that says, who cares? Like, why wake up at 7 when I can wake up at 10 or 11 or 12? Right. Like, what's the point? I might as well just, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. But I think in many ways, I'm grateful for my allergy attack, because I was taking all kinds of medication, which just knocked me out. Knocked me right out, along with reading Scythe before bed. All of a sudden, last several days, I would say I've been reestablishing my sleep patterns of getting to bed early, waking up early, and that's such a healthy thing mentally, just to get back into a habit of doing. And I'm hoping that this will now stick, and that I will stick to this, because it's just changed a lot of my outlook the last week or so. So good nougat. If y'all want to read more delectable nougats from this community, Nate's not technically part of it, but he's like an honorary other brother.
I'm a supporter, mega fan.
He's a great friend. Check out our content, yourotherbrothers.com. You can follow us on all the socials at YourOtherBros. And remember, as always, y'all, you're not alone. Even the sparrow stays at home. Stay at home, but stay connected. And Nate, thank you for being one of the proud 3 Peters of the ConvoCast. It's been so great every time.
It has been an honor and a privilege for me.
My announcement. My announcement is that I think this is the last week of the ConvoCast for a while. We are trying to get the YOB-cast back online, but there has been some equipment delays and snafus that I'll explain more as the week progresses. I'll share more of this journey.
Even the sparrow gets tired of recording ConvoCast.
Right. So I think it's last week. I don't want to make that official yet, because there is a possibility that I might go another week. But if this was the last time, Nate, you've been great. So thank you.
Thank you. And to everyone, follow Thomas Mark Z on TikTok for all that hot content.
Thank you. You're going to love the 3 videos.
How many shirtless videos do you have?
None yet, but stay tuned, you guys. Stay tuned.
Perfect. Watch this space.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.